Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another exciting edition of the JP Peterson Show. So glad you could be with us this morning. We got another great show for you, all lined up. Our usual Tuesday lineup of Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report, who will join us in just a few minutes, a little earlier than the normal time. We'll get him on about 10:05. And TJ Rives will join us at 11:15 on the eve of Bucs training camp opening for a what would have to be one of the most anticipated season, if not the most anticipated season in the history of Buccaneer football. Probably Brady's first year might be the most anticipated, but of course that was all COVID shenanigans going on then. But with this schedule, this roster, full stadium, maybe this is the most anticipated season. You be the judge. Nick Geddes from Outsider.com joining me here this morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I would probably argue that it is the most anticipated season, as it's our version of the last dance.
Yeah,
with Brady in Tampa Bay.
I think that's fair to say.
I think it's fair to say.
I think if he were to come back for another year, and I hate talking about the next year when we haven't even gotten to this year, but I would agree. I think it makes this year much more important, makes it much more historic. You know, Tom Brady's last season, the GOAT, the greatest player of all time, playing what arguably is one of the best schedules in the history of the game. These are historic quarterback matchups that we're going to be watching. People will be talking about for years and years to come, maybe decades to come. And it's all going to unfold right in front of your face at Raymond James Stadium and on your TVs. It's historic, and we'll get into it with Scott Reynolds and TJ Rives. The Rays lose again last night, 5-1 to the Orioles. That's 3 straight to the Royals and the Orioles. I know the Orioles are better, but they're still the Orioles. And the Rays are supposed to be a playoff contending team, and they've looked anything but in the last few days. That was another ugly, powerless, just lay down of baseball last night, 5-1 to an Orioles team. They got 8 hits, but we're 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. That will not get it done in any way, shape, or form. Offensive issues, we will say. Offensive issues, not good. So we'll get into the Rays a little bit today as well. Nice to see Brandon Lau going deep last night, but some defensive mistakes as well. Who said that? G-Man Choi with a and I'll put Taylor Walls in there as well. He did not give him a good target on that double play ball. It should have been a double play ball to first base. And the Rays did not execute, and it cost them dearly in that game. But you're not going to win when you score 1 run anyway. So the Rays got some issues right now. They're certainly not playing like a team that's poised to win the World Series in any way, shape, or form. We got some other NFL stories that kind of underline what's awesome about the Buccaneers is they don't have these issues that are going on in every other camp. One that is just I was watching the segments on Get Up this morning, and almost every analyst there, Louis Riddick, Ryan Clark, Graziano, to a man, just dumbfounded by the Kyler Murray contract codicil, where he is actually asked and required to study 4 hours a week on his own. 4 hours a week. Are you kidding me? That's it? 4 hours? You can't do more than that?
Why is it in the contract in the first place is the question I have.
Because clearly he ain't doing it. And they have to put it in the contract to protect themselves. And obviously the Cardinals knew that this would become public. I would think they would know that it was going to become public and be and that's exactly, I guess, what they wanted to do. Can you imagine how bad it has been to force them to put that in the contract? And I don't have a problem with it. You're going to spend $230 million on a guy or whatever his contract is. I think it's, $130 guaranteed? Absolutely put that in there. But the fact that you have to do it, bizarre.
It's very bizarre, and it just tells you that all those things you heard at the beginning of the offseason when he deleted all the social media, the Cardinal stuff, the drama, the public thing, the agent, that statement that went out, I believe it was in February or March, that was just really odd that you don't see. And all the Cardinals did was deny, right? Yeah. Clearly, there was something there.
Yeah, they were trying to keep it under wraps.
You can only keep it under wraps for so long.
Right.
Now, the fact that this this contract was signed right before training camp. And
Sorry, 160 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
My bad.
But the fact that the contract was signed before training camp, and instead of talking about the storylines going to training camp, it's all about what's in his contract here, which is definitely not what the focus should be for a team who underachieved last year, largely to the doing of their quarterback.
And he's got to go now answer questions about this.
And he never comes off as great with the media.
No, he's not. He's just, this is just further solidifying the narrative that this guy is supremely talented. And his skill set is unmatched. At his size, the way he's able to throw the ball with the accuracy and timing, and obviously his escapability, his running ability, really almost unmatched. But just crazy. All right, we want to welcome in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report as we get set to welcome in the Buccaneers for, as we said, in the most anticipated season and training camp in history. How are you, Scotty?
Doing good. How are you, JP?
Very well. We were just kicking around the Kyler Murray topic as well. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, this can't be real. Like, are you serious? And the fact that it is public, that you haven't seen it. He has to study 4 hours, and they put it in there very specific. It has to be focus study. Can't be playing video games, surfing the web, or entertaining people. The fact that they had to put that in there, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of stunning. It really is. And to my knowledge, he has not won a playoff game yet. No. I mean, the amount of money. Now, listen, I understand you need to find a franchise type quarterback, right? And so I just think some of these teams are just going so far out on a limb, like Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, and who's a better quarterback, than Kyler Murray. But then you've got Kyler Murray, who, he looked awful. I mean, the last time we saw Kyler Murray on the field, he was getting killed in the playoff game. So I don't know. It's beyond me. It makes me so thankful that the Buccaneers decided not to extend Jameis Winston, right? Because, he hadn't won a playoff game. I mean, they did franchise tag him for that or they picked up his fifth-year option, I should say, for that fifth year, paid him over $20 million, and he produced a 7-9 record. I mean, it's bananas. I saw a crazy tweet from somebody here, and I just got this sent to me. Mark Sanchez has more playoff wins than Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, and Justin Herbert combined. What are we doing? What are we doing? Mark Sanchez, he of the butt fumble, has more combined playoff wins than Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, and Justin Herbert. JP, the guys I rattled off, that is a shit ton of money.
I was going to say, add up those contracts. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, that's at least $1 billion worth of money right there.
Yeah.
And they have less wins than Mark Sanchez. And obviously, Sanchez was not a great quarterback, but he was buoyed by a very good Jets defense, obviously. Right. So it's, we add a little bit of context to that. Yep. But again, if you're going to pay these guys this much money, they got to be good enough to elevate your team to win playoff games.
Correct.
And on consistent basis. And we're not seeing that. And it's so right what you said about that decision are you going to extend that quarterback? But I think teams really, they get put in a no-win situation when you use draft capital, and when you suck for so long, you finally get that number one pick and you can get that quarterback. It's like, even if he's showing some sign of promise,
right?
You got to sign him up for the franchise deal, and then you got to sign him at the going rate. They never do like a okay, you've been all right, so you're not going to get as much as Aaron Rodgers. No, you get as much as Aaron Rodgers, bro. Here you go. Yeah. I mean, how does that work? Yeah,
it's not pay for performance. It's pay for potential and hopefully promise. I mean, that's really what it's come down to. And it's the funny thing is the NFL has corrected itself once before, right? When Ryan Leaf sucked right out of the gate, it was nowhere close to Peyton Manning, other than he was drafted right after Peyton Manning. Right. I mean, that's as close as he got to Peyton Manning. He goes, I was selected right after Peyton Manning. That's it. Right. Yeah. He was a terrible quarterback. He sunk the Chargers franchise for about 4 or 5 years just with the weight of that rookie contract. Yeah. And so these NFL teams, they said, well, we've got to do something. We can't have these unproven guys that haven't played it down in the NFL come in and be busts like Jamarcus Russell's another one, right?
Yep.
And sink the franchise right off the bat. Okay, that's fine. So now the NFL said rookie salary cap. That makes sense, right? That's logical.
Right.
The problem is with some of these guys, and Jameis Winston was a prime example, even after 5 years, right? You don't know what you have.
We didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, sometimes you do. And for the guys like the Justin Herbert, who's going to get paid, obviously, and guys like Patrick Mahomes, right, who won a Super Bowl on that rookie contract. I mean, all bets are off. Go for it. Cash in, and you feel good about it as an organization, saying, "Hey, you are our franchise quarterback. We've already won a Super Bowl with you. Let's win some more." But some of these other guys that just haven't won yet, you're paying for hopefully potential and hopefully promise rather than production. Certainly playoff production.
Yeah. That's why I don't understand that guys in Kyler Murray's position. Why are they not signed to a lesser deal? Because they haven't done anything yet. And even though we're saying, okay, you're a franchise guy, but we can't pay you the going rate of the best guys.
You know why? 2 words. Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
You get so desperate for a quarterback, you're going to take a guy who is an alleged serial whatever he is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use any terms that are going to get me in trouble, but I mean, all of those allegations, man. I mean, he's still under NFL investigation. And he has a fully guaranteed contract. It's nuts. And so the Cardinals, it's a situation where, hey, if we don't pay Kyler Murray, and this is where the fear comes into it, if we don't pay Kyler Murray, some other desperate team will, right? You had the Washington Commodes, trade for Carson Wentz.
I know.
Okay? He sucks. He's bad. I mean, the Colts bailed on him after 1 year, and they traded for him.
I know.
So it's that desperation. It's the, oh my gosh, if we don't sign Kyler, some other team will, and then we have to find the new quarterback, and then Kyler's going to go elsewhere and be great, and we'll be kicking ourselves. Like, it's that fear that is driving teams to make these stupid decisions.
It's, and this is where we'll kind of transition back to the Buccaneers. And this is what it tells me about Kyler Murray is what we already knew. He's extremely immature. After you've seen him sulking on the sidelines, and his body language is so bad. And now we find out
I'm going to unfollow the team on my social media.
My God. And then this whole thing has to be put in the contract. Compare and contrast with a kid like Rachaad White, who your diary, by the way, I was reading excerpts of it yesterday. This young man is just the best. If you haven't read it, go read the character of this young man and how he describes how important football is to him, and how he's got his, he's a dad, so he's got his family settled in. He's got this guy has his priorities in order. And this is the maturity that you want in a professional football player. And he's a 3rd round pick. This guy, Kyler Murray, is your damn franchise quarterback. You just paid him all this money, and he's still acting like a child.
No, you're exactly right. And that's one thing that Jason Light, John Spytek, Mike Beal, and Bruce Arians, and now Todd Bowles, and Jason's famous for saying this. You're not just drafting the player, you're drafting the person. And you got to find out who this person is. Who is this guy that you're going to be drafting and paying a boatload of money to and having represent your organization, okay? Now, listen, JP, I don't know if Kyle Trask is going to amount to anything.
Right.
I don't know if he'll be the next Brad Johnson, where he's good enough to be a point guard and distribute the ball, right? And then you put a good defense around him. He can win a Super Bowl like Brad did, right? I don't think that he's a Tom Brady guy that's going to be leading the league in passing attempts or yards or whatever. But at the same time, I mean, he did show the ability to be prolific at Florida. So maybe, right, with the weapons the Bucs have.
Yep.
But here's the thing about Kyle Trask that I do know. I don't know if he's going to be worth a lick in the NFL as a player. But if he is, this is a guy who waited his turn, showed the maturity in high school, in college, and in the NFL to keep his mouth shut, to be grateful, to learn, to do whatever he can to get better, right? If all you're given is A, B, and C, and D in the alphabet, and you can't get to QRSTUV until later, he's going to make the most of A, B, C, and D. And he's done that. So when it comes time to negotiate a contract, if he's worth it, he's going to be a mature guy that's not going to pull these antics where you need these clauses in there to, hey, can you please, study and do the things you're supposed to be doing? We got to put it in the contract. That's the good thing about the Kyle Trasks and the Rachaad Whites and the Logan Halls. And, Jason Light's not perfect, but the mistakes he's made are in the past, right? Getting guys like Austin Seferian-Jenkins, taking a chance on the talent rather than the person. Getting a guy like Chris Baker in a free agency who was a turd. He's made those mistakes and he's learned from them. And there's no assholes on this roster. There's a bunch of great, mature guys. And as you mentioned, Rachaad White is the latest one.
You imagine Tom Brady having to put in this contract for Tom Brady. Don't play video games while you're supposed to be studying.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Reynolds joining us here. By the way, nice to see TB12 out last night at Burns Steakhouse, raising money for his foundation, out in the community with the Super Bowl trophy, taking pictures. I was very happy to see that. I don't think I've seen that much since he's been here. So
you remember, like first year and a half at least were kind of COVID tainted, right?
Exactly,
so remember this is a guy that got chased out of a public park for not wearing a mask and trying to do things in public in fresh air.
Right.
So, it is nice to see him kind of be ingratiated. It kind of puts a little bit of a hole in the narrative that Tom Brady didn't want to come back to Tampa. I mean, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but he's here and he's certainly making the most of it. And I think that, it's great to see him be a man about town and embrace this community. It's not just, I'm here for the job. It's like, I live here too. And that's cool to see.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. So what are your storylines for the first week of training camp? What are you looking to see? I mean, the big reveal on Leonard Fournette's belly. Have you seen all the memes going?
Oh, yeah.
And Leonard Fournette started it. He's the one who put it on his Twitter.
Oh, yeah. He's had a lot of fun with this, which is awesome. I love that about Leonard. Listen, I think that he got a wake-up call, and we've talked about it before. He showed up to that mandatory minicamp. It was hot. It was humid. It was one of those days where the flags weren't flying. That means there's no breeze. Yeah. And I tell you, it was a wake-up call for him. He needed to lose some weight, and I think it was great that happened. Sometimes in June, you get those pleasant days, nice cool breeze in the morning, humidity dips for some reason, but in this case, it was hot. It was a great wake-up call for him. I think he's made the most of these last 6 weeks in terms of getting into shape. He's got Rachaad White nipping at his heels, man. Rachaad is not shy. He wants to be the starting running back. Todd Bowles, I'm telling you, he's not going to play favorites anymore. And I'll say that there was some favoritism with certain players in the building last year, especially on offense. Now Todd is the defensive guy, but he has full say over the roster. And he's not going to play favorites. And if Leonard Fournette runs well and is in shape and performs well, he'll be the guy. If not, if Rachaad White's the guy, then he's going to be, taking some of those carries and catches.
I got a mailbag here. I guess that you got this question yesterday about the creamsicles, and we had a discussion about this yesterday. I'm team creamsicle. JP's not team creamsicle.
No.
Right.
And I said yesterday, all these other teams are getting uniforms and helmets, and the Bucs are pushing this supply chain issue, right?
Right.
Am I looking too far into it that I think that could be BS and that the Glazers really don't want to ever put that back on the field again? Because that was the first thing I believe that Malcolm Glazer said goodbye to when he took ownership of the team.
Yeah, but you got to remember the Glazers also brought it back in 2009. Right. 2000. I think they brought it back once a year until 2012, I believe was the last year that they had it, which was the first year of Schiano. So, and listen, the Glazers do a great job with it. I mean, when you go to the stadium, they're playing the disco music, the early 80s hair metal. I mean, it's old Buccaneers. It's 70s and 80s themed. They've got all the orange in the stadium, the cheerleaders, they put on the old swashbuckler uniforms with the massive orange pom-poms. They do a great job. It's a spectacle.
Pom-poms.
It's fun to do and dust off once a year. Now, I wouldn't want it full time, there's a reason why it was buried, and there's a reason why, those red and pewter uniforms that you see behind me look really cool. Not that one. That's the digital clock. I got that from the Buccaneers for my 20th year covering the team. So I get it's a little sentimental, but the uniform sucks. But yeah, I do think they want to bring it back. Do I believe the supply chain issues story? Well, I mean, it's hard to find breast milk in this country. Not breast milk, but baby formula, I guess. I guess breast milk is probably in great supply right now.
It's not tainted. No, it's tough.
But yeah, I'm just not sure if it's the orange thread that Nike can't find to make the uniforms, or if it's just, sometimes it's we forgot to submit the paperwork, so we got to come up with an excuse.
Or it's TB12. Because we're bringing it back next year.
He said he wanted to play in it. He's been on record on social media, and he wants to play in it. So I wouldn't be surprised.
If I remember correctly, when he got here, he posted a photo of himself edited in the Creamsicle jersey.
Why would you people want to put him in Creamsicle? That color, like one off. Okay, have some fun with the 70s. I love all that stuff you said. Do not put the GOAT in a Creamsicle uniform. You're testing fate. Look, I love the color. It's beautiful.
Right.
It pops and it's all that.
Yep.
But like I said yesterday, it's soft. It's like a creamsicle.
Right.
It's soft. It's sweet.
So you see this where is it?
Not football.
Rondé Barber, number 20. Okay, so real quick story about Rondé. So he was drafted by the Buccaneers in 1997 in the third round, and he was like scared to death and he didn't know that the Buccaneers, because they did it in late April, like a week before the draft. He didn't know the Buccaneers had changed their uniforms or their colors. And so, and you ask him, you're friends with them, JP. Yeah. Have Rondé tell you the story. And it goes something like this. When he got drafted by the Buccaneers, I'm like, oh, cool, Tampa, right? Warm weather and all that. And he's like, oh, shit. I got to wear those winking pirate uniforms, right? He didn't know until he got to Tampa and got to one of the place that they had changed the uniforms and the logo. Now he's like, oh, this looks badass. Okay, this is cool. But Rondé was scared to death of having to play in the Creamsicle uniforms. Now he ultimately did a couple of times when they went to throwbacks, and he made him look good. Actually scored a touchdown off of a blocked punt in the orange and white Creamsicle. So
but like I said, I mean, those uniforms have the worst record in professional sports history.
They do.
The worst. Why would you tempt fate by putting the GOAT in one of those Creamsicles? Just wait a year. He'll be gone. Bring it all back.
We'll thing is, the first time the Bucs donned the throwbacks was 2009. And Josh Freeman, I think in his second or third start with the Buccaneers in his rookie season under Raheem Morris, threw a game-winning touchdown pass on fourth down to Sammy Stroughter in the back of the end zone to take the lead over Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And then Tanar Jackson had a pick six to seal the deal against Aaron Rodgers in that game. So it's crazy that the first time back, they beat a playoff team in Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. But really, I think in the other games since it's been back, they've been losses, so they've returned to form. It's almost like whatever game the Bucs pick for the Bucs Ring of Honor, they lose. I think their record for Bucs Ring of Honor games, it's something like 3-7 now or something like that. It's ridiculous. Or I don't know how many people are in it, like 10 or 13 or whatever it is, but they've only won like 2 or 3 of those Bucs Ring of Honor games. And you've got, Dungy and Allstott and Selman and all those games. And Barber and Lynch and Sapp, and they lose. It's not.
I know you got to roll, so tell the folks what you got coming up on Pewter Report this week and all through training camp.
You mentioned the training camp diaries. That's something exclusive to Pewter Report. We always pick 2. Now, we haven't done the last couple of years because of COVID. We couldn't get close enough to the players, but they're back. We always pick an offensive player and a defensive player to give fans different perspectives, and we always pick a rookie and a veteran player for that different perspective as well. So the offensive rookie this year is Rachaad White, and the defensive veteran is Patrick O'Connor, who's still locked to make the team, but he's a core special teams player. He's going to give us some insight on Logan Hall, the new rookie, Akeem Hicks, Pro Bowler Vita Vea in that room, and chronicle his journey about trying to make the team again. So You can check those out. I've also got a story up on pewterreport.com, 5 potential surprises in Bucs camp that you got to watch out for. So check out pewterreport.com for daily Bucs coverage now through the rest of camp and all of the Bucs season. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pewter Report. And we've got our next Pewter Report podcast tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time on our YouTube page. That's Pewter Report TV on YouTube. That's our YouTube channel. Check that out. And we're going to be out there at camp tomorrow, JP. Looking forward to seeing you out there. And you can find all the coverage you want on pewterreport.com.
Sounds awesome, Scotty. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time as always. The great Scott Reynolds right there. So, yeah, the Creamsicles are fun. It's a great party, but don't tempt fate with the goat. And we don't have to worry about it this year. So,
It's so disappointing.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing. The demand is so high. Demand is so high for those things, man.
I know.
I mean, I look at the mailbag and there's the picture of Rondé running in that uniform, and it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful.
It's a cool look. There's no doubt about it. But as a team look, as your primary color of everything, it's not a
also
football
too,
thing.
I
It's
thought
not a
of this,
football
and I
thing.
almost asked Scott. So obviously they're called the Pewter Report, but if they had never gone to red and pewter,
Well,
they were the Creamsicle Report.
They were something. Well, they were. I think they were a
What was
thing
he
before the Pewter Report.
What was he before the Pewter Report?
I don't know.
But that's interesting because now it's Pewter Report, and it's very identifiable, and it sounds tough, as you say, pewter.
Pewter.
It's a tough color. The Creamsicle Report.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same ring to
Not
it.
a thing.
Doesn't have the same ring
Definitely
to it.
not a thing. All right, we'll take our first break, quick break, 3 minutes, and then we'll be back to talk some more NFL and more Bucs as well, get more in depth into some of those surprises that we see coming our way. There's Ray's, I don't know if we'll call it stadium news because people think, oh, are you announcing a stadium? No, it's an update. It's a clue, and we're going to talk about it as we always do. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back. Here's an interesting question from our friend Lonnie Wilkins. Topic to discuss: buy or sell Devil Rays or Creamsicles? Oh, that's like lima beans or liver. Which one you want? Oh,
What
gross.
the hell's the matter with you?
Gross. Both of them.
Those are the best if the Bucs went back to Creamsicles and that old logo, the winking Buccaneer, and the Rays went back to the old Devil Rays logo with that black jersey that they have and everything in the rainbow, that would be the best uniform combo of any two teams in one city in professional sports.
Your taste is in your behind to say quite they're awful. They clash.
No, they
Ask
don't.
Casey about this.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they first of all, the Devil Rays colors, those rainbow
Casey
things,
can't
those
stand the
socks.
Creamsicles either.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
But the Devil Rays
She's
won,
designing everything for your
but
wedding,
she's
right?
all yes.
Okay, good.
But she's all on board with the Devil Rays. She's all on board with the Devil Rays. Just like me, she
Well,
says
I'll
the
say
new
this.
Rays stuff is all
Well,
boring.
I'm talking more about like the Devil Rays as a brand. The baseball was awful.
Oh.
The owner was terrible. The stadium was even worse then. There was nothing redeeming about the Devil Ray era. Nothing. Zero.
They had great
Zip.
uniforms, though.
Nada. That they were awful too. I mean, like when you
It's unique. It's unique.
unique, yeah. So were those Bumblebee Packer uniforms or Steelers uniforms. They're unique, but they're ugly as hell.
You can't compare that.
They're ugly as hell. Those socks that Linares wears, by the way, congratulations. He's going to be managing what the DR, right? Dominican
Oh,
Republic.
here's another classic one for
But
you.
God, no.
Do you remember this one?
But
Right there.
I'll take Creamsicles over Devil Rays. But if I have to.
You got to read that one right there.
You're forgetting the Lightning Wave and Strike jersey. Oh, what was that one?
Another beautiful jersey.
What was that one?
You don't remember that jersey?
The Wave and Strike?
You don't remember that one?
No.
You were like, I think you were in the town when they had this one going on.
I may have that. I have the old jersey.
Not
But they
this
call
one
it the
was
Wave
different.
and Strike. So this is the original jersey?
This was the original alternate they had, I think around 96, 97, 98, if somebody wants to help me there.
Yeah.
There it is right there. That one.
Which one?
Remember? It had the Thunderbolts on the side and had the waves on the bottom.
I think that was before I got here.
You remember that one?
Oh, that's awful.
No, that's tremendous.
That's awful.
That's tremendous.
Oh, God. Oh,
That's 1990s personified right there.
no, not a fan.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of classic. I'm gonna say classic, but I like some of the new stuff. But
It's all too simplistic for me. And that goes across brands in every single genre. Everything's so simplistic now and boring. Like I could design it on clip art.
yeah. I mean, but there are classic uniforms that are just, I think, like the old Cincinnati Reds uniforms. Those are classic.
Yeah,
and they're
there's-
just like
there's a room
the
for
old
classic.
Yankee pinstripe uniforms. I mean, which they still kind of wear.
But we don't have
They're
any
classic.
We just don't have any fun fonts anymore. It's
Yeah.
like
Well, I like my this is going to be totally contradiction. My high school baseball team wore the Astros uniforms,
beautiful.
which were when they first came out. You want to talk about like
Oh, I could imagine.
People
in the
were
70s
like,
or
whoa,
whatever
my
it was.
God, somebody threw up a rainbow on his shirt. Like, what is that? This disgusting. And our coach was all about it. And we got those things and we loved them.
And now they
We
sell.
loved them.
And they sell.
Yeah.
They're very good.
Yeah.
Lonnie says here, the Navy with the Ray logo is the best combo the Rays refuse to utilize.
I like that one. Yes. Yes.
Right now, the Rays have it all wrong. They got like 4 different logos
Mhm.
between their hat, the front patch, and then the patch on the sleeve. They got like 3 or 4 different logos going on.
Yeah. I've never been a big fan of the Starburst.
The Starburst is so baby.
Yeah.
It makes you look like a little tiny little franchise.
The old Ray. I like that. That
Yeah,
black Ray.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was nice. But I just think the color combinations, like the green, like the neon green with the yellow and the, like some of the old Devil Rays jerseys I like, but the socks and some of that stuff. Ugh.
Well, the socks is a new thing.
The socks are a new thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
they added the socks. That's like their like partnership with Stance or whatever. to
Okay,
create
yeah, I
those
don't
socks.
like the socks, but the rest of it, the uniforms, yeah, the purple, that's a new color.
They just need to wear the black one.
Yeah,
though. They
the
need to
black
bring
one's
back-
sweet.
They
The
sell
black
the black
one is
one in the
sweet.
store.
Black one is really nice.
They sell it in the store. I need to see it on the field.
Yeah, but again, I've never been a big jersey guy, never been big on the uniforms. Like, it's like, ooh, people want to see on college game day or whatever. Ooh, what's Oregon wearing today? USF put their new jerseys out yesterday. There's new uniforms. I don't see a whole lot of difference, but I'm not,
I don't know. It matters to me. And like, again,
Yeah,
I
but
think we make our opinions known on uniforms too, based on how successful the tenure was. It's like
Yeah,
the
that's true.
Creamsicles.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example. Florida State. When they switched from the original that they had to what they wear now,
Which
and
I
this
don't like.
shouting logo,
yeah,
I'm sorry, but because they've gone so far down since they
right.
did that,
It looks worse.
it looks worse. And I hate it. I hated it when it came over,
Right.
and I really hate it now.
Right.
And I wish they go back to
Go
the
back to the
iconic.
classic. Yeah.
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 And I feel like that should be, especially for college football. If you've
Well-
had it for that long, don't change it.
Well, Nike and Oregon just changed the game.
Change the game.
They changed the game, and I think it adds interest to college sports. It adds interest, which is good. I think it brings a lot of people into the game that maybe I think especially. I just think a lot of people. I almost said something gender. Like I think you and a lot of female fans are into a lot of the jersey stuff. It's like it's so important. Yeah,
I think everybody's just into that.
I don't know.
There's so many like uniform pages on Instagram that I follow, and they just have like hundreds of thousands of followers. Everybody's interested in uniforms.
Yeah, I guess I'm an outlier in there.
Yes.
That's just a boomer take, I guess. I just never really. I feel that you play the way you play. It has nothing to do with your uniform.
You look good. What did Dion say? What's the saying?
You look good, you play good.
He had something. You feel good, and then you get paid good, or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds very Dion.
That's the
Yeah.
saying right there.
Yeah. What do you think as we look at the Patriots jerseys and their logo? I like the old Patriot logo was the best. The guy
I
with
do
the
too.
little
I
sailor
do too,
hat.
and that's why the red jersey has demand. It's perfect.
Yeah, that one. But I always said, as a Miami Dolphin fan growing up, I looked at that logo and went, "You guys are that's just not a great masculine tough logo."
Oh, it's better than the one they have now. What is the one they have now? You talk about not looking masculine.
Yeah, I don't like that one
It's
either.
a wimpy dolphin.
Oh, the Dolphins.
That's a dolphin that you see at SeaWorld.
Yeah,
Like,
the old Dolphin logo definitely like, and the old Patriot logo. I like it for the nostalgia, but I remember because they sucked back in the day. Dolphins used to beat their ass all the time, and it was like that. Yeah, that little guy. Do you remember it? The old Patriot.
yeah,
He's got like a little sailor hat or something.
They
on
wear it. I think they're bringing it back this year for one game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. They're very yeah. Well, but people like the throwbacks. I get it. But if I'm the creamsicle thing, should bring back nightmares to all Buccaneer fans, and I that's why I'm so shocked that so many people want to bring it back. Like why? It was so bad for so long.
Hey,
I think to some degree there is a part of old Buccaneer fans. They're kind of like old Cub fans. You suffered for so long, it bonded you together with these older fan groups, and they're just like, man, remember? It's like, let's go back to the old days when we just really sucked. There was no pressure. We went to the game. It was like, okay, yeah, I guess that's nostalgic. Sure,
Yeah.
That was fun. And it was back in the day. But like for somebody who came after the Creamsicles, and enjoyed the great success of the Dungy years and my first years covering the team, I'm like, why would you ever go back to those? They're hideous.
Well, here's what you have to understand.
And you lost.
From my vantage point of someone whose prime was after the Bucs resurgence,
right,
in the 90s and early 2000s, every uniform combo is hideous to me in regards to it. I didn't witness any winning.
Yeah.
I'm scarred by the alarm clock jerseys, just like you. Like some people are scarred by the creamsicles. It all doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny when we switched to the alarm clock ones, it was really bad era. And then when we switched back, here comes Tom Brady. Coincidence?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right. Didn't mean to get all off on that topic. Yeah, well, there we go. Wanted to talk a little bit more about, and we got into with Scott Reynolds as well, but some of the storylines for the Buccaneer training camp. And obviously at the top of the list is Leonard Fournette. And I think what I think people now are saying is shaping up as a battle for running back snaps. I think, Leonard Fournette was kind of the incumbent, paid a lot of money, and everybody penciled him in. And at first I was a little worried about him being out of shape in the mini camp. It's clear that he has made a commitment, but you can never get that time back. As Rodney always says, what are you going to do today? You're going to get better or worse. You never stay the same. And he spent a lot of days this summer clearly getting worse. And that's, when you let yourself go a little bit, especially when you're an older player, that can tend to catch up on you. Even if you get your weight back down, it can catch up with you. So that remains to be seen. But what's good about this whole situation is you want competition there. You want Leonard Fournette to be pushed. You want Rachaad White to want that job. You want there to be a camp battle there to make everybody better. And there's nothing makes guys better like competition. Iron sharpens iron. And that's one of the great things I see at a lot of these positions for the Buccaneers, even along the defensive line. You got young guys coming in. You got like Logan Hall. You got, a new guy in Akeem Hicks, Vita Vea. You got guys in contract years like Anthony Nelson. You got guys like Joe Tryon who want to prove himself. I mean, there's a lot of competition for snaps on that defensive line. There's going to be competition for snaps in the secondary. You got a lot of guys out there, and some players with good resumes that are going to be vying for positions and playing time. And remember, it's not just who starts, it's who plays and who gets the most playing time, because everything is specialized now. The teams play more nickel than they play, standard coverages. So who starts doesn't really matter. Who plays the most, and who's going to get those snaps. And I see competition along the offensive line for those two guard positions. There's competition. That's good. The wide receiver, my God, there's so much competition. I mean, obviously the first three guys are kind of set, obviously with Godwin when he comes back, but he'll probably be kind of eased into things, even though I think he'll be ready. But Russell Gage and obviously Mike Evans, but those other 3 to 4 spots are going to be hotly contested. That makes guys better. And when you have competition, coaches will tell you this all the time. The best camps are competitive camps. When you go into a season and everybody's kind of set in their jobs and playing time, complacency can set in. And I don't see that happening to this team because of that competition factor.
I don't see it either. And you mentioned the running back position off the top there, and we're focusing a lot on it. I don't think Leonard Fournette felt challenged last year. And I know Ronald Jones was there, right?
Yeah.
And I think in some respects, you could argue Ronald Jones was a better runner, a pure runner than Leonard Fournette. I'll always argue that. But unfortunately, Ronald Jones is just out of his realm when he's trying to catch a football.
And he's immature.
He's a little immature,
yeah.
And he can't block. And if you can't block in that offense, you can't play there.
Yeah.
So I don't think Leonard Fournette had any competition. You look at what they had left before the draft. Giovanni Bernard was brought back. I think there's a possibility that Giovanni Bernard is kind of cooked at this point. I know he didn't play as much last year, but when he was in there, I wasn't really all impressed, to be honest with you. Not as sure-handed as I remembered him in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Keyshawn Vaughn, I just think is a lost project at this point, and to me as a backup running back in this league, I still don't think he's good enough. So you bring in a Rachaad White, a guy who seems to have everything all going for him. He's got it here, right? Based on the way you can hear him speak and everything and his background, and you could just tell that he loves football. And I think based on what the tape that we've watched on him, it feels like he's a guy that's going to push Leonard Fournette to be better. So and that's a running position. We've mentioned it so many times. If the Bucs are going to be a better football team this year, they have to run the ball a little bit more than they did last year.
Yep. Yeah. We talked a lot about that yesterday. And I think this is really the key point to this whole team is in order to beat the Saints, in order to be a better team overall, in order to have a better defense, you must be more balanced. And if you lose a couple of receivers and Brady can't find that matchup that he needs because you don't have the Antonio Brown or the Chris Godwin or the Mike Evans in this particular situation, that's how he's always won games. He comes to the line of scrimmage, detects where your weakness is in your defense, knows the matchup he's going to go to, and he knows that guy's going to win, and he just has to make the throw. That he keeps it simple. It sounds simple, but it's harder than that because defenses disguising themselves, and he knows what the deficiency is, and so does Todd Bowles, and so does this entire team. You got to run the football. You got to be more balanced, and I think when you do it more, you become better at it. So I think that's going to be a huge focus of training camp. It's so boring though, isn't it? Let's watch the running game segment today. Let's see them play let's see the running game. They're going to do all runs in the red zone or whatever. So boring, but it's such a key part of football.
It is a boring part to watch at camp. To me, when I'm at camp, it's like, first things first, I need to go watch a few throws from the quarterbacks. I need to take my obligatory picture of Tom Brady. Yeah. Just to say, hey, I'm right here. So
we can throw a 20-yard out with nobody on defense.
Yeah,
everybody claps. Woo! I love it.
Yeah, that's
how starved we are for football.
Yeah, literally. That's the first, and I'd rather do that probably than go to another sporting event right now.
Yes,
honestly. But you get that, and then after that, I want to watch the offensive line and the defensive linemen. I want to watch the one-on-ones
when they have pads on.
Yeah. That is the best part of training camp, in my opinion.
Yeah, you really can see up close and personal. First of all, how big and freaking fast these guys are, and how athletic they are. And then see who's good and who's not, because it's a wrestling match, and you gotta and there's no hiding. It's one-on-one, and you're either going to get embarrassed or you're going to stand up, and there's a winner and there's a loser most every single time, and that stuff counts. So it's good stuff, no doubt about it. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the Rays made a move yesterday, the Rays organization, that has a lot of people buzzing about what it may mean for a new location for a Rays stadium. We'll have some fun with this and connect the dots. Plus, I talked to a very well-placed source yesterday about the lawsuit, and I've got some news on that as well. So stay with us. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion, and you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. If you are looking for a new watch, if you're looking for some new earrings for your lady, maybe a pendant, maybe something special for your daughter, got a birthday coming up like my daughter does, well, go to the Gold and Diamond Source and find something really special. They'll have something in all budgets. It's not just big money stuff. You want a pair of earrings for $20, $30, $40, $50, they got that. You want something for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in a pendant or a chain or something, they got that too. They can make anything you want. We talked a lot about Wander Franco's specialized jewelry that he got stolen, all that cool stuff that he had. Well, you can get something made like that as well. Like I could see it right now. Nick in gold, diamond crusted, like with your favorite number underneath it. I think that would look great, Nick. I think you should get that. I'm going to get that for you for a wedding present. Bling, bling. You can get that made at the Gold and Diamond Source. Anything you want, they can design it for you and make it happen. So many things you can get done. If it has to do with jewelry, they have it at the Gold and Diamond Source. So check it out, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at the goldendiamondsource.com. Like that drippy J that I wore for Denim and Diamonds, it was all blinged out. That was pretty cool. The big J. I should wear that on the show every day, actually. No? Not a thing? Okay.
By the way, I was just going to say, if you're getting me a housewarming gift, I got
not an jeweled encrusted Nick.
Yeah, there's a few vacuums on our registry that, and they're not cheap. So, that would do wonders. Or some pans.
Get you something that sucks. Sure. Absolutely. That'll be great. Everybody needs a good vacuum, especially if you got a dog like mine. Absolutely. All right, so this popped up yesterday in the Sports Business Journal here. The Rowdies are leasing for 3 years and maybe purchasing the soccer complex that is just off the Veterans Highway up near Waters in Tampa. It's about 5 miles from the airport, north of the airport. Now, if you look at that particular area, I don't necessarily think that's ripe for a baseball stadium. But maybe the fact that the Rowdies are moving over to Tampa, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, that's a sign. So we've had all these things in the last few weeks. I talked about this yesterday. I got a message from someone who claims to be working for a company that is going to be doing some work on this upcoming development that is supposed to be the Rays Stadium. They're using some TIF money to get it done. The location is likely somewhere in Hillsborough County. Again, totally unverified. I have no idea who this person is. They did seem to have a little bit of proprietary knowledge, so we just throw it out there because we are always talking about it and updating it, looking for, but again, not reporting anything. I'm just giving you all the stuff that I get. So, we're always trying to read the tea leaves and see what's up. So it's interesting that, why would they bring the Rowdies complex over here if they're still playing, over there in St. Petersburg? I don't know, but that's what they're doing. So there's this whole scenario that I was told, and it's maybe also the person that's talking to our friend Zach Blobner at 620, because he announced last week that he's hearing some things on their back channels of financing a location. So maybe the same guy talking to him, but again, haven't verified any of this and no way really to do so. So it's just interesting. There's a lot of chitter chatter, and the TSA is meeting or was scheduled to meet with the Rays this week. The Rays have asked the TSA just for how much money can you give us? So if they were going to go do something on their own, say, and they didn't want the TSA involved, and we're just hoping to get money from Hillsborough County, how much would that be? They have asked for that. So it seems like, okay, so maybe they've got an eye on another parcel that they're going to work with another developer and do it in Hillsborough County. Who knows? But it seems like there's a little smoke there. So we're just going to throw it out there because I know you guys like to hear about anything that's going on. Now, you want to have any comment on that before I go to the lawsuit?
I'll let you. My only comment on this is did you say the Rowdies are I know this is just a training complex, and that would tend to tell you that they'd probably move over to Tampa.
Right.
I guess I know
And the Rays own the Rowdies, by the way, if I didn't say that.
Yeah, but my question was, why would the Rowdies move from St. Pete? Because they do so well.
They do so well. They get a great stadium there.
They feel so part of the culture there.
Yes, and a perfect match.
So, I would just leave them alone. So, but that wouldn't make sense to build a training complex there, which, by the way, is I think completely on the other side. Because St. Pete, where they were at downtown, is on the other side of where they're positioned.
Where's their training complex now?
Who, the Rowdies?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. So
that's my only comment on that.
Yeah, little tidbit there. So tidbit on the Rays lawsuit, which is going forward. And of course, you heard Stu Sternberg finally came out with some public comments yesterday. Last week about, these partners I'm trying to get a stadium deal done here in Tampa Bay, and these partners are harassing me with frivolous lawsuits, blaming it on them that he hasn't been able to get a stadium deal. That is so rich and so ridiculous. And if anybody was buying that malarkey, God help you. So yeah, that's not a thing. But I was told that I believe it's September 16th or September 19th, mid-September is the next court date where the judge is going to decide on the appeals. The Rays, the people that brought the lawsuit, the other partners, basically asked the judge to hear all this in a jury trial. The judge looked at the different counts, and they said 5 of the counts will go to arbitration. 1 of the counts will go to a jury trial. Now, and that's the count where the partners are seeking the removal of Stu Sternberg as the managing general partner because he has violated his fiduciary responsibilities, defrauded them, et cetera, et cetera. That's what they allege. And they have all the documents and everything in the lawsuit. If you go read it and look at it, it's a very buttoned-up suit. It's verified, so they testified in their depositions under oath that this is what happened. It's a very, very tight and good lawsuit, according to, and obviously since the judge said it's going to go forward in arbitration and in a jury trial, the judge sees some merit in the case, clearly. So this is moving forward. Sternberg is supposedly having a call with Rob Manfred this week, and this particular source told me that the owners are very enthusiastic that the other owners in baseball are paying attention to this lawsuit and clearly do not want it to go forward. In other words, they do not want any depositions. They do not want any discovery or anything that would happen in a jury trial. So if this judge comes back in mid-September and says this jury trial is going forward, the appeals are denied, that's when rubber meets the road for baseball. Then they have to decide what they're going to do with Stu Sternberg, because there is no way, and this source told me this again, there is no way that Major League Baseball is going to let Stu Sternberg have his books under discovery and depositions, et cetera, because that's going to potentially bring in other owners, could potentially bring in Rob Manfred for depositions. They're going the full 9. Major League Baseball will not allow that to happen. Like I told you, Major League Baseball and Players Association were never going to let the sister city thing go. It was never going to happen, ever. Okay? Same thing here. This is not, Stu Sternberg may go to a jury trial. He may go, but he's not going to be the owner of the Tampa Bay Rays when he does it. So there's going to be some resolution to that one way or another. And I think this is why Stu was so pissed off about it. This is not going to end well for him. This is not going to end well for him. And as Vince Namoli was removed as the owner here, so could Stu Sternberg be removed. There's precedent here, and there's precedent obviously in Major League Baseball that this can and has been done. So again, mid-September, that's the next date that we'll see them in court. And if that judge does say this is going to be a jury trial, it's going to be That's going to be decision time for MLB. So, and I wonder what the call this week is with Manfred and Stu Sternberg regarding that. And, Sternberg's already pissed at baseball for knocking down his sister city plan. So we'll see how this rolls out. But again, to me, it's all going down the track of he's going to have to sell the team, either a forced sale or a sale of some type. And you don't want him doing any stadium deals if he's on the way out, because that would, he's not going to do a deal that's going to be beneficial to the entire area. I can assure you of that. So that's the latest on the stadium saga. We'll see where it goes from that. But I do think this lawsuit is obviously very key to how this whole thing is going to move forward. Any thoughts on that?
I'll leave those thoughts to you.
Yeah.
You're definitely more well versed on those things, the legal proceedings, than I am. So I'll leave that up to you. But
let's just hope that many of those predictions come true.
Let's just hope for a solid outcome.
Yes.
Let's hope for a solid outcome.
And I think anyone with any sense in this marketplace, and I did see one fan say yesterday, I don't know if I want to see Stu leave because we have one under him. I'm like,
well, here's a thing right here. This is so on brand. 3 minutes ago, I got an email. It says Rays fan survey. So if you want to voice your displeasures,
give me that. Let's do that on the air.
Go check your survey.
Oh, go, dude. We're doing that on the air. 100%. We're doing that on the air. Yes. We'll take a break and we'll come back and have some fun with the Rays survey.
I mean, I got it right here. If you want to just keep rolling.
No, listen, we got to take a break. We'll take a break.
Yeah,
we'll do that. And we'll come back into our Rays. But I have to say, kids eat free. We've been talking about the meal, the family plan, right? We've been bitching about that. Yesterday they announced kids under 14 eat free now. So you get the hot dog and the Coke or whatever they're going to give away. Kids meal is free. All right. So we're making progress. We're doing it. All right. We'll do some Bucs and some more Rays. We'll have fun with the Rays survey when we come back. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Christopher Lugo was on with us last week, and he is a very forward-thinking, progressive doctor in terms of modern medicine, doing things differently than has been done for many, many years, and that's doing everything personal to you, finding the things that work for you, the supplements that work for you, exercise that works for you, hormone replacement for men and women, guys likely your testosterone is very, very low. If you're 30, 40, 50, if you're in your 50s, check it out. Get your blood work done. And they will, at the Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they will look at all your blood work and design a diet for you, exercise. And if you need testosterone replacement, they'll do that for you as well. So that's where medicine is going, personalized medicine. But it's hard to find it because so many of these doctors and primary care doctors are just absolutely overwhelmed and have to do quick 15-minute things every time with hundreds of people a day. So that's not the way they do it at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. You will get personalized attention. So if you're looking for that, and by the way, if you get diagnosed with COVID and they tell you there's nothing they can do or just go home and get better, no, there's plenty that can be done. It's proven therapies. It's proven treatments. They have it there at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. So go there and do not get you should not have a bad outcome if you have COVID these days, folks. There's great treatments out there. So every time I hear somebody that's struggling with it, I'm just like, don't be. It's stuff that's out there. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, there's so many different treatments that are really, really working. So BAMFC.com. Go there and get all the information and contact Chris Lugo. All right. We got to do this. The Rays survey. So this is the survey that since you buy so many tickets, did you get your $15 tickets, by the way?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No, right. I did not. Circumstances.
I understand. But many did. I heard it was very, very popular. Very popular. So well done, Rays. And now kids eat free. So moving in the right direction. We're moving the needle here.
All right.
I'm very, very proud of that.
How likely are you to attend a Rays weekday, Monday through Thursday, home game with a start time of 7 p.m. Eastern time? Extremely likely, somewhat unlikely, or extremely unlikely.
Well, just because of the time,
yes.
Time doesn't matter to me. So it's still extremely unlikely.
Are we answering this for you or for me?
Well, you can do. I'll give an answer, and then you give your answer and submit.
This is my survey, so
right.
I'll give my answer.
Right. My answer would be not likely. Your answer is?
I'll go somewhat, only because of schedule purposes.
Well, which time do you prefer? So they did what, 6:40?
7. Yeah,
I think 7:10 is a good start time.
All right, somewhat likely.
Yeah.
For me. What is the biggest barrier you faced in attending a Rays weekday home game with start at 7 p.m. Eastern time? Traffic, work obligations, family obligations, game ends too late, expense, other.
So give me those again.
Traffic, work obligations, family obligation, game ends too late, expense.
Have to pick one. Like, is there an all of the above?
No.
But there's really no location option there, which I guess is traffic. So
what's your number one?
My number one would be expense. Yeah.
Okay.
Expense.
Mine's work obligations.
Okay.
So we'll move on.
Yeah, there. I mean, again, if you're charging the $15 tickets, okay, but most of the season it's been $60 bad outfield tickets, so expense.
Okay,
100%.
If Rays weekday home games with the start time at 7 p.m. started a few hours earlier, would your attendance be increased, decreased, or stay the same?
If we're talking, clearly this is just about time start. I think 7:00 is the perfect time.
I think stay the same. Probably.
Yeah, because it's kind of after rush hour a little bit, and then you got to get back from work, feed the kids, or do whatever. It's just that's the time. 7:00, 6:30 is too early. What are they talking about? 5:00?
Huh?
2 hours earlier they're talking about?
I have no idea.
5:00 would be bad because 5:00 would only the 5:00 would only mean people that live in St. Pete would be going to it, and they don't go to the games. So you got to cater to the people in Hillsborough. Give them time to get there.
I could answer this as a 1 or 2. This question right here.
Okay.
How likely would you be able to attend a Rays weekday home game given the following game start time? 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Those are all way too early for the weekday.
Yeah.
For me. So that's ones across the board.
Yeah.
That's an easy question.
Are they going to do weekday games at 3:00?
All right. Here's one for you. From most important to least important, please rank the following ticket benefits that will improve your likeliness to attend a Rays weekday home game.
Okay. Free
parking were included in the price of the ticket.
Okay.
All you can eat food were included. Preloaded value for use at concessions or retail stands. Alcoholic beverages included in the price of the ticket, and non-alcoholic beverages included in the price of the ticket. So you rank those from most likely to least likely.
I think a few years ago, I would say alcoholic beverages, But now I would say, I would probably say food.
Yeah, I want the food.
Yeah.
Like to hell, I mean, the parking's parking. You pay to park everywhere. That's nothing new. But the food, I want the food first. I want the alcohol second.
Yeah. Food, alcohol. Well, I don't even know what the other ones were.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. And moving on from there.
Yes.
Let's see. When attending a Rays weekday home game with a start time of 7 p.m., are you going primarily for leisure or business?
Leisure.
Leisure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going there for business.
Yeah. You're not taking a client to a Rays game. I guess some people are. They like baseball games. Yeah, but
how much time does it take for you to travel to Tropicana Field for Rays games?
well, that's individual for everybody, obviously.
For you, less than 10 minutes, between 10 and 30, between 31 and 60, more than 60.
What is it for you? Coming
between
from Apollo
31
Beach,
and 60.
31 and 60. Yeah, they'll get a lot of that.
I feel like that's the sweet spot for most people.
Yeah, they'll get a lot of that. But again, hard for a weekday. Really hard for a weekday to do that.
I think that might be the end of our survey.
Yeah, so obviously they're trying to nail down start times, and figure out what's the best incentives to build weekday attendance. The fact that they're doing a survey, they're trying to build, but it seems like they're trying to, this is such a Rays thing, and it's good. It's good and bad. It's good in baseball, the actual management of the team on the field, but it's bad in business because in terms of they keep trying to come up with wacky, like we're going to start at 3:00 and we'll get better attendance. No, here's what you do. It's pretty simple. First of all, move the damn team to Tampa, first and foremost. Put it in the center of the market. But then offer ticket specials, especially weekday ticket specials. Make people, incentivize people to go to the games during the week. That's what they've been playing baseball for 150 years. They've tried everything in terms of attendance, and it's pretty solid what works. Give people value, opportunity, and ease during the week to get there and get home and start the game at an earlier time if you can. 7:00 is fine in weekday games, I think. Speed up the game. That would help too. But then incentivize them with cheap tickets to get them there during the week. This is not rocket science. People want to get perceived value, and also, have an owner that everybody's not pissed at. That will help as well. Centrally locate your team, become a community partner, make it affordable. People will come. It's pretty simple. It's not follow the lightning template. It's pretty simple. So, all right. We got TJ Rives coming up, so we'll be talking a little bit Bucs. Couple other things wanted to get to. We talked a little bit about the Kyler Murray. If you haven't heard that was, they put in his contract that he has to study 4 hours a week, and he can't be doing video games. Specific in his contract, he can't be doing video games or entertaining. What was the other one that was in there? Video games can't be entertained. Surfing the web.
Yeah.
I was like, how do they monitor that?
I really have no idea. I mean, what are they going to have, like a camera on him at all times? Like, to me, 4 hours though, like it says a minimum of 4 hours
a week.
4 hours a week. That's not even nothing.
That's nothing.
That is as bare minimum as it gets.
Yeah.
Like that's like Tom Brady's lunch break, probably.
Right. Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's great. I mean, I would wonder how much Brady is actually doing, quote, independent study. I would say probably at least 20 hours a week.
Yeah, I can't make sense of it, but I see that story. And then, you heard that thing that Scott Reynolds said earlier today that I was going to bring up to him, that Mark Sanchez has more wins in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, and Justin Herbert. It's astounding. That's 4 playoff wins. You know who also has 4 playoff wins in his career, more than all those quarterbacks?
Who's that?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Your
boy.
Who I will always sit here and defend, because this comment from Kyle Shanahan yesterday had an awesome run with Jimmy, but when you bring in the cap and things like that, there's just so many tough decisions you have to make. Jimmy will be in a good spot, most likely somewhere else. Kyle Shanahan, what's his record without Jimmy Garoppolo? It's not awful. Good. It's not good.
I think it's like 40, under 40%.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is 31-14 as a starter with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to keep stressing that. that he has gone to a Super Bowl and he was a quarter away from going to another.
Yeah.
The 49ers
and a throwaway from winning a Super Bowl.
Yes, the 49ers look horrendous without him out there. Look at the 2020 year when he was injured for a lot of that. And it wasn't
And
much
that's another
different.
problem. He's been injured a lot.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. But when he's on the field, man, they win a lot of football games.
Yep.
And they're one of the best teams in the league. There's no character concerns with Jimmy Garoppolo, is there? Not from what I hear.
No. Great teammate.
Great teammate.
Guys love him.
He just kind of drawl to him. And everybody
Guys not
wants
named Tom Brady love him.
Yeah. And they're trying to run this guy out of the door.
Yeah.
I mean, they're putting it out in the public. Yeah, he's going to be somewhere else.
I think I heard Louis Riddick say today that Trey Lance has started 3 games in 3 years. He has not played.
He has not played meaningful football since 2019.
2019.
And you're going to give him the keys to one of the best teams in the NFL without Jimmy Garoppolo there?
This may be the greatest coaching job and greatest scouting job ever, to go find this guy, give up all they gave up, and then turn the keys over to him, almost like a Mahomes, Alex Smith situation. I think the Chiefs were 12-1 when they turned over the keys I think they had 11-1 or 12-1 under Alex Smith.
Yeah,
and
they were
gave
a damn
the keys.
good team.
They were a great team, but they had a little bit more information on Mahomes. They saw him play in college. They saw him for almost a year under Alex Smith. And this has not been the case with Trey Lance.
Let's just face it. The only reason why they're doing this, and this is why the NFL draft can get so many teams in trouble. They traded so much capital to move up and take this guy 3rd overall, and they're just chomping at the bit to see him. They're just chomping at the bit. There's pressure on there that Trey Lance has to play.
Well, and frankly, once you make that move, you got to do it.
Yeah,
and I think they've played out their hand as much as they can, and now it's the time. Now it's time. What's striking to me is again, you have all these unproven guys that are getting tons of money, like Kyler Murray, and you got a guy that's proven. Look, I'm not saying Jimmy Garoppolo has the highest ceiling. I'm not saying that, but we know he's a winning football. I mean,
just don't tell me
why you would take Carson Wentz over Jimmy Garoppolo. I have no idea.
And I'm so sick of people telling me that wins aren't a quarterback. I'm so sick of people telling me that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not completely a quarterback stat, but who touches the ball every single play?
Yeah, it's
the quarterback.
It's big.
Am I going to sit here and say that Jimmy Garoppolo has played great in some of these deciding moments? Maybe they could have 2 Super Bowls if he could make more throws. Absolutely, I'm not blind to that. He ain't the most talented guy in the world. But it's so hard to find a quarterback that can win games in this league.
I agree.
It's so hard to find a quarterback who's mature in this league.
And they can't even trade him. They can't trade him.
You can't even trade him. What trade value does he have? You're just telling everybody that he's basically shit.
Yeah.
I mean, what trade value does he have?
They have not. You look at the way the Bucs played their quarterback transition, and look at the way the San Francisco's played theirs.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
not good.
This whole thing about Kyle Shanahan being this guru and this everything without Jimmy Garoppolo, what is this guy?
Not much. Hasn't won a lot of games without him.
No,
that's for sure.
No, and you're going to hedge your bet in Trey Lance?
Yeah. He was also the guy that was calling the plays when they were up 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So there's that. But he's the wonder boy. He's the wonder coach. We'll see.
My jury.
That's what's going to be great about watching the 49ers this year. We'll see how that works out. He may be right. Everybody says he's one of the brightest minds in football, so we shall see.
Let's see if you can turn
and John
Trey
Lynch
Lance
obviously is a part of this as well. So it's a big-ass gamble, and let's see how it works out for him. All right, we will take a break. When we come back, TJ Rives is going to join us. We'll talk with Bucs sideline guy about the upcoming Bucs training camp and some of the things that will be going on for you fans as well. So stay with us. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in? but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It's a TJ Tuesday, so we welcome in our good friend TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy. What's up, partner? How are you?
All right, so I don't know if you have you secured that moniker? Have you trademarked that at this point, or
TJ Tuesday? I have not.
Is that like an official thing now?
I think it should be. I think the people will crave it. They'll want it. They'll
they
call
will
for it.
flock to it. Let me just
Tuesday is so 1990. It's TJ Tuesday now. Let's go.
TJ Tuesday instead of Taco Tuesday. So let me just share with you that I was briefly delayed in joining you just a second ago because I'm dealing. These are the things we do in the summer. Married, kids, whatever. All right. So kids are with mother-in-law, grandmother, and my wife is dealing with the eye doctor, and that's coming for me soon. And I'm confessing and admitting this on FanStream JP that I'm going to probably need the reader soon, etc. I see you there with them on.
Yes.
So the wife was not supposed to get her eyes dilated, but she now has her eyes dilated. I'm probably going to get in trouble at some point because she's going to find out about this interview. But we have been having some dialogue, let's just say, back and forth about. We talked about that JP was potentially needing to talk to me on TJ Tuesday here.
Yes.
Do I have to come get you because you've had your eyes dilated from the eye doctor's appointment? And will it be TJ and the eye dilated Mrs. Rives joining you simultaneously on the show? But I do have confirmation that she is apparently okay to drive. She has the alien looking glasses.
Yes.
And so she is okay. And here I am. Now that I've digressed on the beginning of the interview, there's the update.
Did she get LASIK, or is it just
no? She's having her eyes. She's having her eyes checked. Let's just say that the eyesight has never been good. And so she is in contacts that she might be able to see other planets with. And so sometimes
she got the Hubble telescope,
the Hubble telescope brand of the contacts.
Yes.
So she is going through different contact, stages, types, prescriptions, or whatever to try to help her.
Yeah.
And this eye doctor decides about 30 minutes ago, we're going to dilate your eyes.
Yeah, that's something that probably should. Actually, it's not that big a deal. I mean, they always say you might need somebody to drive, but I've done it post. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. So
fair enough.
Where will your eyes be focused as training camp opens?
Very nice. Very nice segue on that. So a week ago today, by the way, and I'm sure you've already covered this on FanStream JP and the JP Peterson Show. Weren't we discussing the alleged overweightness? Yes. Is that a word, Nick? Nick, is that a word? Are we official on that? Overweightness? The alleged overweightness of Leonard Fournette.
Fat factor.
Turned out to be not correct.
Yeah.
Well, at least
problem.
At least not the problem it was being portrayed, right. Because I even sent you that picture that he's working out with the UCF guys and Gus Malzahn.
Yep.
The head, and unless Gus is now 300 pounds, Leonard Fournette in that photo is not 260.
No, he looked pretty good. And
Gus probably weighing in at about the 230, the 240 range, maybe 250.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette, 220, 230 in that picture. So I have not seen anything today of him reporting, because today is the day the veterans report, and then tomorrow they begin whatever it is they're going to begin, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I have to believe Buccaneer fans are going to be relieved that Leonard Fournette is not going to be the reincarnation of Eddie Lacy. We keep hearing that.
No, I don't.
Jerome Bettis or any other big back.
No, he'll have his weight down, and then I think he said he played at 240 last year or 238 last year.
I believe that. Yeah. I mean, he's thick.
Yeah, he's a big man. And frankly, I don't want to see him at 220. Frankly, I don't want to see that. I think he plays best probably right around 230, 235. Whatever he was in that Super Bowl run, get there, bro.
Right.
That was the best incarnation of Leonard Fournette. And obviously, that was such a key. I mean, sometimes I think we Brady gets so much credit, and obviously he should. But Leonard Fournette was such a huge part of that run. I mean, he was key. So key.
Catching the ball out of the backfield, especially in the playoff games that you needed. And even last year, as the year wore on, yes, I mean, the one thing we know is he's had injury problems. So he is not going to be the 17 game, every down, every game back. You're going to have others.
Nobody
this
can
is
do that.
Correct. Yeah. But especially him, he's had problems with his ankles. He's had problems with his hamstring, et cetera, in the past. And most backs go through that at some point. I mean, look at what, ever since Christian McCaffrey signed that deal, they can't keep him healthy for any reason over the last 2 or 3 years in Carolina with what they want to do. Ezekiel Elliott has battled problems, hamstring, knee, was playing with apparently hiding a partially torn knee ligament for a lot of last year. So you've got to have other backs anyway. That's what training camp's for. That's now what we're going to see with Keyshawn Vaughn with another year, with Rashad Allen, the draft pick they've gotten. How does Giovanni Bernard factor into all of this?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have other solutions because Ronald Jones is not here anymore. You're going to have other solutions on who do you hand the ball to, who can play a spot game here or there if you need them because of injury. That's what training camp begins to help you sort out.
Hey, I know this is not on a lot of people's radar, but I think, obviously we have a little eye to the future, the post-Brady era. And I was very intrigued to see Kyle Trask last training camp. I think he's going to get some more reps this year. I think they want to see what they have in him. Blaine Gabbert, I think, does not want to be forgotten that, could he be the successor to Tom Brady? And is this battle in this training camp something that's going to give somebody a leg up to be the successor for Tom Brady?
Well, let's be realistic about this. Blaine Gabbert has had a 10-plus year career and multiple chances at multiple different places, and he is what he is, which is a backup who's there in the event you need him to play a couple of games. That's the truth. That's the reason why he got passed around from Arizona, where he was with Bruce Arians as a backup, to Tennessee, where he was before he came here, and he's now here. He's there to be the insurance policy and to play spot games or maybe play a couple of games that are a key game, a big game, something like that. Clearly, you want to see if Kyle Trask can be the future at quarterback.
Right.
And these preseason games are invaluable for that. You're going to see a whole lot of number 2 of Kyle Trask out there because you already know this is the truth. We're speaking the truth today on a TJ Tuesday.
Yes.
Blaine Gabbert is not the future for 2023, 4, or 5. Kyle Trask, you've got to find out, can he be the future? Because he was a second-round pick. You got to take advantage of those preseason games. They're not asking me this. I'm not in the meetings with Jason Light and Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich. They're not clearing this with me. I'm just saying we've done this enough to know you got to look at the younger guy just like you did last year in preseason games. And
I think Blaine Gabbert's okay with that. He knows his role and he knows where he needs to be. And I'm not saying he's going to just give it up to Kyle Trask, but I think there'll be a battle there, and they're going to give him Trask a lot of chances, and not just in the games, but also in those joint practices they're going to do with the Dolphins and the Titans as well. What other spots are you looking for? Will you be watching in this?
And by the way, I don't have a phobia if you have to play Kyle Trask. And we were talking about this before when the Brady retirement talk was going on. You look at the recent history of quarterbacks, especially out of the SEC, that have now stepped in and played immediately. Mac Jones with New England, but also Tua with Jalen Hurts. These guys that have stepped in. Yes, Baker Mayfield stepping in immediately. Kyler Murray stepping in immediately. Where is the phobia with? I did not have a problem with trying that in year 2 if that's what you were going to do. I certainly would not have the fear of turning it over to him if something, heaven forbid, happens to Tom Brady either. Justin Herbert's another one that excelled right away and could play well. And again, he's big with a big arm. Joe Burrow, the same way. You mentioned that name. And granted, he got hurt, but he was playing right away. Mm-hmm. So we've now seen a trend where you don't have to have the phobia of, oh my gosh, he's only in his first or second year. Can we turn it over to them? We've seen these guys have success. So now on to I continue to say offensive line. I want to see, because you've got two different holes at the guard positions. And is that Shaq Mason? Is that Aaron Stinney? Is that one of the draft picks that now becomes part of that cohesive unit with Donovan Smith and Wirfs on the end and Ryan Jensen in the middle? Who are the guards? Who was, you would think Shaq Mason has pretty well got the lead in the clubhouse to be the starting guard week one when you get ready to play Dallas.
Yeah.
But who's the right guard? Is it Aaron Stinney or is it one of the draft picks? One of the guys you got? I don't know. And so I think I'm probably as intrigued as anything by that offensive line and those camp battles.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've always watched for training camp is when you have competition at certain positions. I mentioned this earlier in the show, and I think this is going to be a theme of training camp. A lot of times you'll have, and I think last year was kind of like this, most of the starting spots were set, right? But I think running back, I think Rachaad White's gonna push Leonard Fournette. I think the receivers, after the first three, you got a dogfight for those next three positions that are going to really push all of those guys. I think you could see it at defensive line, not necessarily young guys, but you've got guys like Joe Tryon who wants to make a mark. He wants snap. Anthony Nelson wants snap. Gill wants snaps. Vita Vea, Akeem Hicks, Logan Hall. All these guys are vying for snaps, and they're going to make each other better. I see it in the secondary as well. When you're bringing in Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal, you've got a lot of guys and a couple of cornerbacks that are in contract years in SMB and Jamel Dean. So this competition, there's a lot of reasons for guys to want snaps and put stuff on tape. And I think this is going to be one of the most competitive training camps we've seen in a few years. What are your thoughts?
I agree on defensive back. I mean, besides Carlton Davis, and again, you had injuries. From the very beginning, Sean Murphy-Bunting got hurt in the first half of the first game. And then Jamel Dean had an injury and tried to come back. And then Carlton Davis got hurt in the New England game and had a thigh injury and was gone for like a month or 6 weeks. It was not until literally like week 11 or 12, something like that, before they got all three of those guys back healthy on the field at the same time. The Buccaneers were literally playing guys off the practice squad and off the practice squad of other guys' teams because of injury in the middle of last season for Todd Bowles' defense and his secondary. So I'm very interested, like you mentioned, in Logan Ryan. Zion McCollum, right, is the draft pick that they got. What does he look like? Can he fit in? Because, again, he's a more cost-effective solution in the short term here from some of these other guys. So, defensive back, that's going to be another area because you've got to cover people. You've got to be able to cover 3 and 4 wides now in the NFL with DBs. So I am also equally as interested as what does that look like with some of those veterans you were mentioning.
TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy, joining us here. Since we last spoke, Kyle Rudolph was signed by the Buccaneers, and that.
Did you see the smile on his face on that video they put on Buccaneers.com?
Yeah, I think like his contract was the list.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight from my agent. I'm not catching passes from Daniel Jones in New York anymore on a team that's going to score 9 points a game and win 4 games. I'm going where? When? How soon? Can I be there tonight? Can I go over to Tom Brady's house and cook him dinner? Please. I'm not confirming that happened.
Yes.
When can we make that? I saw that smile on Rudolph's face. And how much can he contribute in the pass game? I don't know. But I think as we discussed, this is as much about blocking as anything. You got to block people. And Rob Gronkowski was being used a bunch the last 2 seasons as a 6th blocker on that offensive line. So I think that's a big factor there with Rudolph.
Yeah, and I think if they have to move on without Gronk, and I'm still not convinced they're going, that's a thing. But I think even if Gronk comes back, with what they're paying Rudolph, they still got room to bring him in. So I don't think that's completely off the table. But if they have to play with Rudolph and Cam Brate and the young kids, Cade Otton, who they just signed, are you okay with that? Is that going to be enough given the other outside receivers that they have? I think it would be. We'd love to have Gronk. Obviously, we're better with Gronk, but I think this is not a bad second option.
Well, yeah, right. And it's a veteran, and he can go catch some passes, and Brate is much more of a pass-catching threat, so you kind of got the dual threat there with that. I am with you. We continue to bang this drum as training camp begins. I will believe Gronkowski is retired when he's not playing in September and maybe even in October, because you have to believe that if injury causes it or ineffective play causes it, that TB12 is going to be on the bat phone. Now, what kind of shape is Gronk still in at that point? What kind of football shape? That's another argument. But I have to believe he's going to stay in shape and stay ready, and he's avoiding all of the two-a-day stuff, all of the preseason games and stuff, and who knows? Who knows what ends up happening?
Yes, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of the best and most anticipated training camps, and for fans, like I know they're not having an open day for other fans, but there's, what are there 50,000 season ticket members now? The Buccaneers have. They're adding seats to the stadium, maybe even more. The place is just going to be packed. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I wish, there was a night practice. I think that we would absolutely pack Raymond James Stadium. Would be so fun, but here we go. This is going to be fun. And I love training camp. I love you just see things out there and you get up close and personal and see things that you don't get to see in the regular season. So I can't wait. I don't know about you.
Well, I do know, because we've done this for a long time. I mean, Nick, we're old farts at this point. And for the audience, we were doing this back in
on this earth.
That's correct. We were doing this back in the 90s over at Pep and Root Stadium at the University of Tampa. And that was always fascinating. And it was just as hot then as it is now. I mean, I go all the way back to being a teenager before you came to the market and going to Ray Perkins's 8 a.m. practices that were part of his 3-a-days in 1987 when Vinny Testaverde showed up as the number 1 pick. And you wonder why they had nothing left come like September 28th. They had nothing left because they had been going at it in the Tampa heat 3 times a day, including a late afternoon practice. They would do the morning practice. They would come back and do like a lunchtime walkthrough and then come back again in the full pads later that night with 2-a-days. And they came out of the gates and destroyed. Still remember this. They destroyed the Atlanta Falcons in the very first game. And everybody thought, man, there must be something to this whole 3-a-day thing. And yes, they had a strike, like the player strike in 87 was in the middle of it. But it was clear even after the strike when they came, they had nothing left in October. They had burned it all up in July and early August at Pep and Root Stadium. So anyway, we've been out there. We've watched the 2-a-days. This is now different, because they don't practice in pads as much. They certainly don't practice in pads twice in the same day. You used to see that all the time, by the way, in training camp. So it's modified. It's slower. I mean, I just saw the thing on the schedule today. I'm just letting Buck fans in on the secret. You're going to see your favorite stars out there running around, but you're going to see them running around for the first week in like a helmet and a shirt and shorts some of the time, and sometimes like shoulder pads and maybe not. You're not going to see full pads until next week. Before you see full pads. So enjoy it in the doses that you can be out there. Enjoy seeing Tom Brady, seeing Devin White and Vita Vea and Mike Evans and Leonard Fournette and all these players, but you're not going to glean a whole lot from them running around in a shirt and shorts with a helmet on. You're just not, from a football standpoint.
You know what? You just reminded me by that little history lesson. That team you speak of, Ray Perkins and Vinny Testaverde, they were wearing a different uniform, weren't they?
That is correct.
They're wearing a different uniform. And we've been having this debate today and yesterday. And I'm asking everybody that's breathing, basically, are you team Creamsicle coming back, or are you scarred from those, I wouldn't even call them memories of the 80s and 90s and before?
Nightmares. They were nightmares in the 80s for sure. Now, it should be noted, because Doug Williams always points this out, Jimmy Giles has pointed this out, and others, we had no problem winning in them orange uniforms. Doug said that right to me on a couple of videos. I had no problems winning in them orange uniforms, and he was right. Back in the late 70s and the early 80s, they were always successful in that. It's just once it began to slide for all the various reasons, that became an easy target of, hey, they're wearing these pastel orange uniforms. That must be the reason why. And of course, then the Glazers bought the team, obviously, and the third year of the franchise, owning the franchise, they switched the uniforms, as you remember, JP, right when you got here. Yeah. They switched it to the pewter and red, and they won immediately and won a bunch. And that must be the reason. It must be the uniforms. To answer your question, Nick, I am on board with Team Orange. When I came here and was around this team in the early 80s, they were in the orange. it was neat because it was different. You knew who the Buccaneers were because of the orange. And now you can make the argument that you know who they are in the pewter and red. Tom Brady has helped with that. Previously, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, John Lynch helped with that. You knew who the team were. But I look forward to going back to the creamsicle orange stuff and having the orange jerseys and the Bucco Bruce helmet. And I loved those throwback games when we did that. In fact, I for 2 of the years, I wore one of our radio analysts, Dave Moore's his actual jerseys, his actual orange jersey. I was wearing that on the sideline on the radio broadcast because I was that big of a fan of the orange jersey. I'm like to Dave Moore, I'm like, give me your orange jersey and I'll wear it down there on the sideline. What are they going to say to me? I'm not going in. There's another 83 that's going in on the game. It was Vincent Jackson at that time. I'm not the late Vincent Jackson. I'm not going in, but I am all aboard. I'm all aboard that train. I still remember this in this market. So this was the 1992 season when Sam White showed up. It actually may have been the 93 season. So his second season. Mm-hmm. That's when they broke out the orange pants, which was the first time ever that they had brought out orange pants, white jersey, orange pants.
Hideous. And
there were so many people on the radio because I was doing the 5-day-a-week sports radio on the old 910, the first ever all sports radio station. It was blasphemy that the orange pants were being brought out and even suggested by the Culver House regime and by Sam White or whatever. Well, you come out for the first couple of games and they won them in the orange pants. When you go back and look at the first couple of games with Green Bay and Arizona, and I was there. I was in the north end zone in the old stadium for 1992 and 93. I think he did it the second year. I don't think it was right off the bat in 1992. I think it was the second year in 93 that they wore the orange pants. My point is, when they won those first 2 games, then everybody's calling the show like yours going, it's because of the orange pants. Why weren't we wearing the orange pants before? It's got to be the orange pants. There is video on YouTube of Chris Berman holding up the orange pants after the 2-0 start and saying, this is he was holding them up on the set of ESPN's NFL Primetime. This is why they're winning. The orange pants. This is why they're winning. That's my point, that when you win, you can wear whatever and people are going to buy it and be fans of it. And that's the lineage of the team. I do know this. You want one more story?
Sure.
Tuesday story.
Yeah.
There was talk in that season where Sam wanted to wear orange on orange. Remember this story? And it's like,
did they ever wear orange on orange?
Paul Gruber, as a veteran, Hardy Nickerson, and a couple of others were just adamant. We are not going out there and looking like
there's a reason for that.
Bad arena football or whatever. But I mean, there have been so many jersey combos and stuff since then. I don't think it would look that bad. And by the way, the Tennessee Volunteers wore the orange on orange for years in the 70s and the 80s with the orange prior to the Buccaneers even contemplating it. But there were veterans who were basically saying, we are not doing this to the Culver House regime and the Sam Whites. We're not going to do orange on orange.
I'm all off for a one-off, get the big pom-poms out with the cheerleaders and play the 70s music.
Yes.
Reynolds was talking. I'm all for that. Let's have a party, whatever. First of all, don't ever put Tom Brady in one of those uniforms, ever. And it's not going to happen because we're pushing it to 2023. I think Brady had something to do with that. The GOAT will never play. You're attempting fate when you're going to put those things on the GOAT. You don't do it. So you want to do it next year? We'll have the one-off.
But wait, he was willing to put the New England Patriots, when they were the Boston Patriots of the AFL, put their red jersey on, and with the Patriot snapping as the center on the helmet. He was willing to go along with all that. You're saying he's not willing to go along. You don't believe he would be willing to go along with Bucco Bruce and the orange?
I think publicly he might say it is, but is it happening? No. Why is it not happening this year? Because he doesn't want it.
Like I said, when he got here, he put himself in that uniform and posted it on Twitter.
He did
it's
it?
like an edit. Yes, he did. That was his
or
edit.
His social media team did it.
Whatever.
The Buccaneers social media team.
Well, the Buccaneers social media team.
Much to his chagrin.
Whatever.
I'm just going to ask you, if it was so great, how many other teams, new colleges, new uniforms, new everything, have ever even thought about using that pastel, cheesy, soft, candy-ass creamsicle color? Nobody. And there's a reason for that. Because it's awful.
Well, I'm just saying to you, though, you go back to that 79 year and you can go relive a couple of the games on YouTube and you watch how nasty that defense was with Leroy Selman and the Selman brothers and Batman Wood and Neil Cozy in the middle of that defense and some of the other names that are eluding me right now they clobbered people in the orange and never had a problem. That defense was nasty long before Sapp and Brooks and Lynch and Barber and all of those guys were nasty. Simeon Rice rushing the quarterback. These guys were nasty in the late 70s in that orange. Yeah. So it's kind of the clothes may not make the man, but the clothes may be directly related to how good you are or not. And I totally get that the Glazers wanted to eradicate the 1980s and early 90s when they bought this team and said, get rid of the orange. Let's do something else. Let's have a different color scheme. Plus, they wanted to sell jerseys, sell hats. I get that. Yes. Sell T-shirts. I get that. But I'm by the way, Raheem Morris's first win as an NFL head coach was in the orange against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They played a great game. They played their best game, arguably, that entire year in the orange. For that year.
The opponent can be thrown off by that color as well. So you got that going for you. So there you go.
Well, remember Testaverde, speaking of him one more time, Testaverde's whole thing, the color blindness was the orange jersey and the green grass and how it all blended together.
Yeah.
And I love how he played all of those years at Miami and they wore the orange and it was not a problem. He had the struggles with the Buccaneers for like 3 years or 4 years. And then that finally came up. You know how that came out? It came out because he was talking to Terry Bradshaw because Bradshaw was doing the game that week on CBS. And he volunteered it to Bradshaw. And I still remember that being in the local papers, in the Tampa Tribune, in the then St. Pete Times. Vinny Testaverde admits to being colorblind. And we're all sitting back going, where was the investigation and the diligence on this to find this out when it's 3 years in and you've given him like $15 million guaranteed, which was unheard of money in the late 80s, for him to tell a CBS broadcaster, I'm colorblind and I have trouble distinguishing between orange and green. And so from then on, the Bucs wore white all the time. Yeah. All the time because of that.
And what other franchise in the history has had two quarterbacks? Not one. One was colorblind and set an NFL record for interceptions.
Right.
The guy who's thrown the second most interception needed to get LASIK.
Jameis. Right.
And so how do you have a quarterback for 4 years? Do we not have an eye doctor in this town? Do we not have one ophthalmologist in this town that can go work for the Buccaneers that can say, hey, having good vision is probably a key credential to quarterbacking in the NFL. Right. It might not be a bad idea to have your quarterback to be able to distinguish who a defender is and the offensive player is down the field. Like that might be a good idea.
Is that my receiver or is that the first down chain? Let's just hope. Let's just hope on the out route.
It's laughable that that's an issue. It's like nobody's and the fact that they're throwing that many interceptions, maybe it's a factor. I don't know.
It's a good point.
First time Jameis ever played with LASIK as a starter, he played 5 games for the Saints last year and had thrown 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions with LASIK Jameis. Just saying.
Point taken there on the vision and the color scheme, but
my goodness,
we've been going down the nostalgia road here today, and I'm just sharing that with you.
Conversation
about the orange pants that they once wore. You're not in favor of orange pants at a future date if that is the case. You are nixing that.
Only if I'm going to a 70s disco party. Then I will wear the bell-bottom creamsicle pants and rock them. So yes, but not to play football in. No. All right, my friend. Tell everybody how they can get your content, what you got going.
Well, we are anxious for the start of the Buccaneers season, and the preseason games will be here before you know it. Buccaneers Radio, and you can follow me at Bucs Sideline Guy. I got a lot of other stuff that I'm involved in, obviously, doing some freelance college football play-by-play. Boxing is big as well. We got Jake Paul, by the way, back in the ring. When last we saw Jake Paul, he was annihilating Tyron Woodley, the former UFC champion, with one punch downtown Tampa at the Amalie Arena. So Jake Paul is back August 6th at Madison Square Garden. He is fighting the son of a former heavyweight champion, Hasim Rahman Jr. Rahman's had 13 pro fights as a heavyweight. So he's bigger. He's got a little bit of experience as a boxer.
Nice.
Let's see if Jake Paul has a challenge on his hands or not at Madison Square Garden. So We're writing about that on the Big Fight Weekend website, Big Fight Weekend podcast. We're talking about it. And there's some bigger boxing matches coming up in August and September. Heavyweight title fight coming in August. Canelo Alvarez in September. So I dabble in the boxing.
Okay.
But the football is king. Can't wait for all of it to get going for real. I'm just saying to Buccaneer fans, temper your expectations this week on seeing a whole lot of training camp. Next week, there'll be more to see. And then when you get closer to the preseason games, but we're ready for it to start, my friend.
Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, TJ, great stuff as always. Appreciate it. We'll hopefully see you next week on TJ Tuesday.
Time to go check on Mrs. Reeves. She's arrived at the house and make sure that we can,
you've never
carry on
looked
with
in her eyes.
Exactly, because she can't see. Exactly.
Oh, my girlfriend's have glaucoma or something.
Beautiful.
Great strategy. All right, thank you, sir. The great TJ Reeves right there. Let's hit a quick break here, our final break, and then we'll come back and wrap things up with maybe some of the stories that we have missed. So stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. 3800 Homerton Road, your place to get a great engagement ring, 0% financing for 5 years. That'll save you a ton of money. So you can get a big ring for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks a month. You never know. Go in there and check it out and see what you can get. You'll be pleasantly surprised. The great staff over there is very welcoming. Please tell them JP sent you. And when you bring your diamond back to upgrade it years from now, you will get 100% of what you paid for it. It does not lose any of its value. So that's a key too. If you're young and you're buying a ring, you may want to upgrade someday. So when you get to be big and rich and famous and all that stuff, and you bring that diamond back and say, hey, I want to get a bigger one. And they'll say, well, get out that receipt, say, this is what I'm putting down on it, and away you go. It's a great way to to handle your diamond purchase because it will never lose its value. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Overton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. We're going to talk a little Rays here at the end of the show, but I did promise we wanted to get to this Nick Castellano interview yesterday. I had some back and forth with some folks on Twitter. The great Shane Stafford taking me to task. But this is a example of what not to do as a reporter, most certainly. And I don't think Castellano handled it terribly, but he could do it better as well. So it's time for JP Sports Media Training with, I don't know who the reporter is, but he's a jerk. And Castellano from the Phillies. This is what happened in the clubhouse.
Did you
this exchange. I tried to play it yesterday. We couldn't get the volume.
No, man, I lost my.
What is wrong? What is wrong with this? No way. Nope, nothing there.
No, man, I lost my hearing.
What could possibly be wrong with this?
Come on, man.
We just used the CPU. But again,
can anybody else answer that for him?
Okay. It's just we're cursed. So basically the reporter asks, did you hear the boos? And what was the exact situation that he struck out with game on the line or something like that? Was that the situation?
Stupid question.
You're still trying to get it.
He just hasn't been. Long story short, is he signed a big contract this offseason, and he's been nowhere near worth it for the Phillies this year.
Not the town that you want to underperform in when you get a big contract.
The synopsis of it is the reporter, he was being booed, and the reporter asked him, like, did you hear the boos out there? And Castellanos, like, responded, yeah, I think I lost my hearing.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And that was when he said, like, that's a stupid question or something like that. He's like,
somebody tell him why,
yeah,
why that's a stupid question.
Yes.
And then the reporter gets up at his face and actually points at him and says, you should be able to answer the question.
Yeah.
Which is completely unprofessional and completely out of line. Because, and like I always say in these situations, especially if you're the one being interviewed, humor is your best friend.
No, man,
humor is your best friend. And you need to, and he first said, yeah, I lost my hearing, so I couldn't hear it. So you say, this is one of those times for a nice canned line. It's like you say, basically, you know what? I got to be better. I just have to be better in those situations. Baseball is a lot about failure. You have to learn how to deal with it. So tell me, Mr. Reporter, how do you deal with it on a daily basis? And then everybody gets a chuckle and they move on. And you've made your point. And you've roasted them at the same time. But as a reporter, you never get confrontational because when you do that, you're making it about yourself. Unless they challenge you outright, and at some points you have to hold your ground and not be a wussy. But I have never tried to start or escalate something like that. In my career, I've had a couple of run-ins with players in certain situations, Warren Sapp being one of my most infamous, when he rocked who was it, Kyle, the tackle for the Green Bay Packers, and basically tore the muscle off of his hip bone with a blindsided cheap shot. A shot, by the way, that has been outlawed in the NFL because of that.
Can anybody else answer that?
He got into it with me. I was like, why were you standing over him and taunting him? And he's like, oh, you read my lips now? I mean, well, you're standing over the guy after you just blindsided him, and he's practically unconscious. It's a dirty hit. It was a dirty hit. And he was confronted after the game by the coach. And so it was a story. And Sapp went after me. And at first I'm like, I'm not going to get into a back and forth. Don't make it about yourself. But if it gets that heated, you better show some nuts. You better show some backbone. Don't just, this guy kind of created the confrontation, and that's never what you do as a reporter ever.
Yeah, not a good look, but it's kind of commonplace, I feel like, in Philly sports, though.
Yeah,
these type of exchanges, and this is why I tell you, it's so a little off topic, but it's why I can't wait for John Tortorella's tenure with the Flyers.
Oh my God,
I just can't.
If you struggle to lose weight,
be so good. Oh, we got that. We got that back.
No way! It just started working after all this time of me trying to figure it out.
An ad pops up. It's still, this one particular
okay,
clip
but now
it
won't play the video though.
Yeah, it doesn't want to play.
Play the ad.
All right, so the Rays are back at it tonight against the Orioles after a depressing 5-1 loss last night. Corey Kluber actually gave up 7 hits and 5 runs But there were 2 bunt singles and I think 5 other singles. He pitched much better than that, but the Rays were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Just awful. And since they've come back from the break, it's been really, really, really bad baseball and a lot of bad. They were bad defensively last night as Choi made a huge error. They need to do something to wake this team up at the deadline. And I don't know. They've got the prospects to do it, but is this really the year to do it? Is it maybe just the year to give these young kids a chance to prove themselves?
When you say young kids, can I get the ones that are actually like doing something that are in the minors?
Yes, those are the ones I'm talking about.
Can I see those
like
young
Jonathan
ones?
Aranda, yeah.
Can I see those young ones? By the way, no Kiermaier, no Zunino for the rest of the year.
Yeah, as we kind of knew that anyway, but official yesterday.
Probably the last you'll ever see them in a Rays uniform.
I would agree.
So there's that, but
I could see Zunino coming back, but I don't think Kiermaier's coming back.
No,
he's got the Rays can give him a $2.5 million buyout instead of picking up his $13 million option. They're certainly not picking up that option. So we may have seen KK's last days. But they're back at it tonight against the O's. Not sure who's pitching tonight. What is it? McClanahan. Shane McClanahan night. Must watch. Absolutely. Our thanks to Scott Reynolds, who joined us today, and TJ Rives. If you missed anything, you can always download it on our app, FanStream Sports. Download the app. Just tap the app. You can listen to the show anytime. It'll start right up for you. Also on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Just go right to our pages at FanStream Sports, at FanStream JP, at JP Peterson Show, and you can get the show right there. You can watch it any day, anytime. And on our YouTube page as well, please subscribe. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays.